Hello, everyone. How is everyone on this evening? Now, I'm going to bring you a story from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Now, I did a video some time ago about a man, an inmate, with his neck, his knee, officer, a deputy, placing his knee on an inmate's neck. And so now, to do a follow up on this story, what's happening now is that the LA County Sheriff, Alex Villanueva, or Villanueva, however you pronounce that name, I think it's Villanueva, he is threatening to bring charges, criminal charges against the whistleblower that told it. Okay. So I'm going to say allegedly, but this is a story coming out of Witness Los Angeles, and he threatens to bring criminal charges against a whistleblower as multiple sources say Villanueva or Villanueva lied big time to cover up a case of a deputy kneeling on an inmate's neck and more. Now, I seen the video, and of course, I don't play the videos, but you can always access this video from the article because I saw the video, and it's very interesting because that deputy kept his neck on that kept his knee on that inmate's neck. And I actually saw the video, and it was very disturbing to see that. But they're saying that the sheriff knew about it, but he covered it up. And so now he's threatening to bring charge. But uh allegedly, I'm gonna say this. Sometimes people will go to the extreme. Yeah, I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. All that hot air that they're blowing to cover up the fact that they're in the wrong. And I'm gonna get to the article, and you know what? You can determine for yourself, decide for yourself if this sheriff is lying about him, about him knowing that this happened or not. He said he didn't know, but there are some said, no, he did know. So let's get into this article. So it says this week the news about Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva keeps on coming. So before we get to the main topic of this story, there's a few updates. On Monday of this week, April 4th, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Malcolm Mackey ruled that the head of the nation's largest sheriff's department must comply with a subpoena to answer questions under oath about the ongoing problem of deputy gangs in the LASD. Okay. Now this was April 4th, so we are actually, this was the week. Monday was April the 4th, and we're now already on April 8th. So he should testify under oath, and I'm ordering him to do so, said Judge Mackey, whose ruling denied a motion to squash the subpoena by Villanueva's attorney, Linda C. Miller-Savage, to squash the subpoena. Now, I'm going to say Villanueva and leave it at that, okay? Because I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his name. Some people pronounce it Villanueva, some pronounce it Villanueva. So I'm going to say Villanueva, okay? So the sheriff will answer the OIG's questions, said Savage to the judge. He just doesn't want to testify under oath. Now, why wouldn't he want to testify under oath? Why wouldn't the sheriff want to testify under oath? And it says he's going to be forced to testify under oath, period, snapped Mackey, a former U.S. Marine who has been on the bench since 1978. Predictably, by Monday afternoon, Villanueva had churned out an email announcing his intention to appeal Judge Mackey's ruling regarding the subpoena, which he designated a political weapon. By Wednesday, however, the sheriff had redirected his ire toward a different target. Specifically, Villanueva devoted much of his live address on Facebook and Instagram to a weird and counterfactual character assassination of Robert Greene, the widely respected member of Los Angeles Times editorial board who won the Pulitzer Prize last year for editorial writing. Villanueva's tirade was related to a sequence of events that began last Tuesday when the sheriff sent out a colorful email, see below it says, stating that the LA Times editorial board could blankety 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 blank 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 its endorsement. and he respectfully declined to participate in the board's endorsement process for Sheriff. Now, what's going on with Sheriff Alex Villanueva? What is going on with him? Because he seemed to be very angry about something. But you know, I'm gonna say this: when people get caught up and they get caught up in their mess and their untruths, I'll say untruths, then they start to lash out at other people to distract. And that's how, that's how people do when they get caught up. They start lashing out and trying to distract. But the way he's behaving, that's not looking good. That's not a good look for you, Alex. That's not a good look. You know, if you would just remain calm and go ahead through the process, you might be found innocent that you didn't know about this situation, or maybe you misunderstood something. But a man in your position, you should not be lashing out and getting angry and going on a cursing rampage on people on social media. Because you know that once you get on social media, you can't take that stuff back, even though it can be deleted, but it's still out there for them to pull up. And not only that, your social media is your resume. So this doesn't look good for you, Alex. And you're supposed to be leading other deputies to do better. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't have trust in these police departments anyway. And for you to be behaving like that, Alex, you need to come back into submission. Okay, so anyway, a few days later, Green wrote an editorial pointing out that the board had received Villanueva's letter and he wouldn't engage in the usual endorsement interviews while he was, in fact, being interviewed by the Times via Zoom as part of our endorsement process for the June election. Green also noted that the interview was made even odder due to the sheriff's out of nowhere, evidence free assertion that LA County's Inspector General Max Huntsman is a Holocaust denier. Out of nowhere, he's calling people names. And actually, they got this picture. Oh my God! It says re-elect Sheriff Alex Villanueva for, and then it's crossed out with the Los Angeles Times, and then there's some blankety blankety blank blank blank, curse words. Your endorsement, and it goes on and on, on this little thing here. But anyway, bad optics. Meanwhile, Witness LA spent much of the past few days talking to LASD insiders who told us that the sheriff had probably lied at his press conference last week about his knowledge of an involvement with the investigation of a use of force incident involving an LASD deputy kneeling on the head of a jail resident for more than 3 minutes after the man was handcuffed and no longer resisting. And you all, I saw that video and he was no longer resisting. He really wasn't. He was on the ground. He was not resisting. And that deputy had his knee on this man's neck. I saw it with my own eyes in the video. Okay, so the incident in question occurred more than a year ago, but became news late last month when the Los Angeles Times published a story on what they described as a cover-up by unnamed LASD higher-ups. And you know what higher-ups mean? Accompanied by a video of the episode. For those not following the matter closely, here's the deal. So let me just summarize what she's going to tell you. She's going to give you, I'm going to read what they're going to give you in this article right here. And I'm going to say allegedly again, because I want to make sure that hey, allegedly, okay? So on mid-March 2021, an LA County jail resident named Enzo Escalante was in the holding area of the San Fernando courthouse, awaiting a court appearance for multiple charges, including murder. The incident began as Escalante was walking down the corridor following another jailed man named Roger Artis, when Escalante evidently said something in passing to nearby deputies, in response to which Deputy Douglas Johnson attempted to push him face first to the wall. And I saw the video and it went like that. And then guess what happened? When pushed, you better watch who you're pushing, because Escalante turned back towards Deputy Johnson and swung at the deputy several times, which he did, appearing to hit him in the face at least once, maybe more. Now, I'm not condoning, violence and fights, between deputies and inmates and things like that. But let me tell you something. This deputy, he pushed this man and he shouldn't have pushed him. This man said something verbally and then he turned around and tried to push him. See, there is no reason for that. Even if he said something verbally, This deputy had no business trying to hit this inmate, that was waiting for, a court hearing or whatever he was, an inmate or was not an inmate, but he was there, okay? And so he tried to hit him. So guess what? And he tried to, push him face first to the wall. That's what, and so he turned around, Escalante, and he turned around and was like, you know what? You want to get it on, don't you? So he swung at the deputy several times, and he probably hit him in the face. So within seconds, the jailed man was wrestled to the floor, which he was, by multiple deputies, including Johnson, and quickly subdued, which he wasn't resisting anymore. And that deputy, you know what he did? He was trying to be like Derek Chauvin. He wants to get the same outcome that Derek Chauvin has. That's what's really going on here. But you got to be careful putting your knees on folks' necks these days. And then let me tell you something else. You have to be careful about uh, pushing somebody just because they said something verbally. You got to be careful about trying to swing on folks, because everybody that's in the jail system as an inmate is not going to let you hit them and get away with it. So Escalante showed him what he had, brother. So I'm just saying, okay. So meanwhile, the artiste, the jailed man who was walking just ahead of Escalante, was also officially subdued and handcuffed by multiple deputies. I guess they didn't want him to come to Escalante's rescue. They was afraid of that, so they didn't want to take no chances. So they subdued him too, and he didn't have anything to do with it. So during the process of handcuffing Escalante, however, Johnson appeared to kneel first on the man's neck and then on his head for an extended period of time, which he did do that. And you can see where Escalante kind of tried to move, and he kept his knee on that man's head. Let me tell you something. Johnson, you in a lot of trouble, Deputy Johnson, and I hope that the people protest, because you had no business doing that. You don't have no business doing what you was doing, but you was doing that because you was trying to get even, because you tried to push this man's face into a wall because he verbally said something, and then Escalante came out boxing. Okay. So the series of events, including the punching by Escalante and the head kneeling by Deputy Johnson, was captured on a surveillance video that the Los Angeles Times later acquired, a part of which you can view here. I clicked on it, so it's going to be in here. And if you guys get to this, hopefully they don't take it down. It's the article, see where it says Witness LA on the video? That's the one you want to see. And in this article, you can click there and you can actually see the video. Yes. And then, according to Times reporter Aileen um, Kekmedian, in the full video, one can observe Johnson keeping his knee on the jailed guy's head for more than 3 minutes after Escalante was clearly handcuffed and appeared not to be struggling in any way. As luck would have it, the incident occurred on March 10th, 2021, the day after the first jurors were interviewed in the high-profile and emotionally harrowing trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd. And I'm probably sure that Deputy Johnson has read this article, okay? So, in other words, it was not the best of climates for law enforcement officers to be kneeling for any length of time on someone's head or neck. I agree with that. Worried about how Deputy Johnson's actions would appear if made public, according to the Times story, unnamed LASD upper level officials buried the incident by not ordering an internal criminal investigation of Johnson's use of force because they were worried about the optics of the 3 minute plus neck and head kneeling, given its painful echo of the brutal actions that led to the violent death of George Floyd. Now, didn't I always tell you all when I do my videos, I tell you that God will expose things and he will expose people? Let me tell you something. They tried to cover this up, and it is a video out there of it. And thank God that the cameras was rolling, because it's a video. And I would like you all to watch this video and leave your respectful comments, because it is the video. I saw it, and I'm going to tell you this. They should have told the truth. I mean, I understand the climate that was going on with George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, but they should have told the truth, because what you do in the dark, what you do in the dark, so shall come to light. And God will expose evil, and he will continue to expose it. Now, I'm not saying that the inmate Escalante, was in the right, and I'm not saying Johnson was in the right. But you know what? It almost seems like that it was a fair fight here, because first of all, the deputy, he got angry at whatever Escalante said to him. I don't know what Escalante said. I don't know if he threaten somebody. But the thing was, it was just verbal. And then this deputy gets angry and tries to push this man's face into the wall. And so Escalante come out boxing. It's almost like they was on the street fighting. You know what I'm saying? But you a deputy. You are supposed to be professional. So why would you try to push this man's face into a wall and he hadn't even hit you? He was just walking by and he said something, because I seen the video and I want you guys to see it, because something just is amiss with this whole thing in this LA County Sheriff Department under Alex Villanueva. So Alex, you know about it, because I'm pretty sure they told you about it and you tried to cover it up to save your skin. But you know what? This stuff just don't go on in Minnesota, or just go on in LA. It's going on other places too, because I did a video on the other thing. So anyway, about that. So furthermore, the optics problem would likely not be helped by the fact that the deputy who did the kneeling was one of the department members prominently named for taking highly invasive photos at the Kobe Bryant crash site. So they even more trying to cover it up. So who led the cover up? Let's find out who led this cover up. After the LAT story came out, Villanueva called a press conference during which he vehemently, vehemently denied the suggestion that he had participated in a cover-up of the head kneeling incident. According to the sheriff, he didn't see the video at all until November of 2021. That's what he's saying, approximately 8 months after the incident which Escalante and Deputy Johnson occurred. Now, Villanueva also said that when he did finally learn of the matter in November 2021, he called for a criminal probe of the incident and ordered the head kneeling deputy to be relieved from duty. Then he demoted 2 members of his command staff for their supposed part in the cover-up. This is not going to go over easy, you all, according to witnessLA sources. However, the big problem with the sheriff's description of what he knew and when he knew it is that it simply isn't true. Okay? Simply isn't true, Alex. Tell the truth. Okay. Allegedly. So to the contrary, Sheriff Villanueva was reportedly given the surveillance video in mid-March 2021. He was given it. I wonder if there's cameras up in there where they gave him that video. I wonder if there's cameras, okay? Within days of the so-called bad optics episode, and he watched the video in the company of multiple department higher-ups, including then Assistant Sheriff Robin Lemon and Under Sheriff Tim Murakami. Okay? He definitely saw the video within a few days of when it occurred, said one of our department sources. Also present at the viewing, we learned was Sheriff Villanueva's aide, Lieutenant Tony Blanchard. Okay? Blanchard was there because it was played at Blanchard's desk. Ha ha. A source explained. Blanchard was there, and guess what? You know how some people start telling the story? Yes, he was there. Yes, he was, because it was played at Blanchard's desk. Because we was all standing there watching. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. And his office is not private. It is open. So people could see it walking by, obviously. It's in the open, which means there were several professional staff members present. Now, Alex, what do you have to say? Okay, so among the problems with the sheriff continuing to double down on this story of not being aware of the incident and the video until last November is that the list of people who know the story is untruthful is a long one. For example, the DVD itself was reportedly created at Court Services headquarters, and those who were asked to create it knew they were creating the DVD for the sheriff to look at, a department source told us. And that means they told witnessLA, whoever the journalist was. So the slow-mo charging of Enzo Escalante. According to our sources, nearly all of whom asked not to be named, of course, another significant part of the reported cover-up has to do with the inexplicably delayed investigation into the actions of Enzo Escalante, the jail resident who swung on Deputy Johnson. You know why they delaying it, right? We know. See, I told you the government, they don't, these government agencies do not like to take responsibility when they make mistakes. And you know, when I first read Escalante's name, his first name, Enzo, I thought of the Enzo designer who passed away some years ago. He made beautiful shoes. Enzo, Angelino, he made some beautiful shoes. And I thought of the name Enzo. Not to be funny, no disrespect to Mr. Escalante, but I did when I first read this article, a few days ago. Now, normally it seems after an incident of this nature, in addition to a highly prescriptive use of force investigation that would have kicked in regarding Deputy Johnson's actions and that of other department members involved. A police report would have been generated regarding Escalante's alleged deputy slugging behavior. Yeah, why didn't they report that? That this inmate, you know, um, got in a fight with a deputy. And in that video, they showed like people walking back and forth like some deputies and stuff, but you'll be able to see it if you go on here, like I said, on this article, pull it up, Google it, pull it up, and there you have it. So the report on Escalante then would have then gone to a detective who, after further investigation, would have passed the case to the DA's office, where prosecutors would have subsequently decided whether or not to charge Escalante. Isn't that supposed to be the procedural process? But it's delayed, slow-mo delayed, okay? And if so, what kind of charge or charges ought to be filed? You know how that goes. So this should have not been a lengthy process. It should have not been. If you're following process, policies, and procedures, it really shouldn't have been a lengthy process. But guess what? It's going to be now. So yet, not only did the potentially high-profile case of head kneeling Deputy Douglas Johnson never made it to the DA's office for their consideration as of July 2021. 4 months after Sheriff Villanueva reportedly saw the video of the incident, Enzo Escalante's comparatively run-of-the-mill case was not given to county prosecutors until January 2022. And we are already into April of 2022. Okay? Approximately 10 months after Escalante's actions occurred. Okay? But I'm still thinking about how he turned around and said, "Oh, okay, you want to fight? You're going to try." I was like, okay, bro, ain't playing, brother. He started to box, okay. But let me get back to let me get back. So when I heard last July that the force investigation hadn't gone to the DA's office, I was floored, said former LASD Commander Eli Vera, who is running for sheriff, hoping to unseat Villanueva, but who up until last week was the co-commander in the Court Services Division, which provides deputies for the county's various courthouses, including the San Fernando Courthouse. Although Vera wasn't serving at that division when the incident occurred, after he arrived as the new co-commander a few months later, he was quickly dialed in. So WLA sources, including Vera, have suggested that the only likely reason that Escalante's very ordinary case was delayed from reaching the DA's office was the fact that once in the hands of the DA, the case, including the problematic video, was no longer within control of the LASD and its sheriff. This also meant that the head kneeling incident, which occurred subsequent to Escalante's actions, could also have become more publicly available, a development that the sheriff reportedly was determined to avoid. And he sure was determined to avoid that bad publicity. You know what I'm saying? And for you all that live in LA, don't go and try to shake Escalante's hand. Don't. Don't do it. Stay away from that. You don't want to get yourself in trouble because Alex Villanueva is on a rampage. He's on a tirade. And you don't want him messing with you and trying to take you in just because you went to shake Escalante's hand. Okay? So when someone leaked the video to the LA Times anyway, Villanueva flat out denied any early knowledge of the incident or the cover up, claiming his first news of Deputy Johnson's head kneeling occurred in November 2021. Then, to further make his point, the sheriff demoted two members of his command staff, namely Chief Lawana Hasselrig and Assistant Sheriff Robin Lamont, in an attempt to blame the cover-up on them. They better fight back. These two, you know what? Let me tell you something. These two members of the command staff, Chief Lawana and Assistant Sheriff Robin, y'all need to fight back. You have a union? Now you need to fight for your rights. You need to fight for your position. Because if you know for a fact that Villanueva was given that video, no, bro, Alex, you cannot demote people and get away with it. I want you guys to stand up for your rights, Chief Lawana and you know, uh Sheriff, Assistant Sheriff Robin, stand up for your rights, okay? Now, yesterday, Sheriff Villanueva further upped the ante regarding his refusal to admit having any knowledge of the bad optics cover up by announcing he intends. Now, listen to this. I told you he was going real far. Folks, when they know they in the wrong, let me tell you, when their character is being questioned, hey, their integrity is being questioned, he is going as far as to seek criminal charges against the whistleblower who gave the head kneeling video to the Times. Okay, so let's see who the whistleblower is. Can we see who the well, you know what? I can't get in there. It won't let me. So we're gonna keep moving on. So LASD Lieutenant Eric Strong, who along with Eli Vera and a list of others, hopes to make Villanueva a one-term sheriff, had this to say about yesterday's threat. So you have to be careful who you threaten, especially when you demoting folks and you doing things to cover up to protect your image and your stuff. Let me tell you, they are, they talking about the threat. They not trying to make him another term, give him another term in office. See, if you gonna lie then about somebody's welfare, because see, I don't condone whatever Escalante might have done. I don't know the man, but at the end of the day, he is still human, and no officer should be kneeling on nobody's head and their neck. We already have discussed that. We're supposed to have tackled this, and we are still sitting here looking at officers placing their knee on people's head and their neck. Are we just not understanding that we need to stop doing that? Really? That just goes to show you that people get caught up in the flesh. They forget that they are professionals and there's a way to do their job. And if this man had said something threatening when he walked by, there's a way to talk to these people. But to sit here and try to fight this, push his face into a wall, and then you don't think somebody gonna come out throwing punches, hey, you obviously you want to just go toe to toe, you know? So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. And so anyway, let me tell you what they responded to Villanueva's threat. They said Villanueva, he said, has set a tone for corruption and abusive behavior for the department that he leads. His latest move, intimidating personnel with a criminal investigation after they expose wrongdoing, shows that Alex is not above weaponizing law enforcement, even against his own staff. So it seems, allegedly. So anyway, you all, thank you for tuning in. And I want you to like the video, share the video, and then if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. But again, you can find this on witnessLA. You know, go to witnessLA and you can find this video so that you can actually, you can see the story. But if there's in the middle of the article, there's a place where you can click. It says right here. You can see it right here. And there's the video that's out there. So, to go ahead and watch the video. And thank you all for tuning in, with this. And please leave your respectful comments below. God bless you all on this evening. Bye-bye.